in Zoom. I'm going from Zoom servers to YouTube. They provided an application programmer interface, and they're setting up my redirecting to YouTube Live, and I just make sure that it works. Perfecto. Okay. So let me share my screen. And Max, do you see my screen?
I do.
Perfect. So now I'm going to go to my content. I always go to what's due. And today, this Monday, you had your notebook LM, you had your readings on information security, and you had this article on cybersecurity in higher education, the best practices. You want to make sure, let me open up in a new tab, you want to make sure that you know this topic well. Then you see what we have is Monday, March 2nd. You have your group assignment. If you had any issues with it, this assignment, you want to make sure that you discuss it in your group. And then we made sure when we went to the audit area on the assignment of the group, under group 0, you see that you need to have one person make the folder, and then you can basically see that you want to put your group instead of sample, your group, and who attended the meeting, of course, and each of you coming up with your reflections, your issues, and improvements. It definitely can be improved, and also talk about it as a group. What also I like about it, since each of you have your chapters, you can maybe use it as a mini review, and then you can discuss it among each other about certain issues that you don't understand in security that need to be done. So you'll have your Zoom Cloud and you'll have your YouTube. That's going to be a given. And then you know that attached here is your exam review guide, and it's also attached in PowerPoint and documents. So if I go to PowerPoints and documents, I know that it's a review. Again, it is in person. I can't stress it as much, even though it's easy online to kind of miss that, since everything else is online, that it will be in person. It will be proctored. You'll get to see Lily and myself. The note, if you don't know where SBA 204 PC Lab is, what do I suggest? Before Wednesday, March 4th, go to it. Make sure you know where it is. You don't want to be roaming around campus trying to find it and only to find out that you were 40 minutes late. We will try to start on time rather than in this regular question until we get everybody up and running. Sometimes it takes a while. So we don't have any problems with that. As I said, you can study any way you want. You can use any AI tools you want, but when you're taking the exam, it will be proctored and it will be on the computers of the university. It will be on Blackboard, where it will be you and respondents, closed note, closed book, closed AI software. You, in order for authentication, also, you're going to be going onto the network without your computer, so your password sometimes won't be incorporated. You won't have it saved to your computer, so make sure you know your account password. Somehow get it. And of course, since we're doing authentication, when you can, if you finish the exam early, you're welcome to leave. You don't have to stay to the very end, but you need to bring with you a pictured ID, your cane card, or a government ID with your picture matching the name. And for backup and recovery purposes, I can't rest assured that all those computers will work. So you're going to bring your laptop with the latest version of Respondus and use the computer network to log in only when we don't have a computer. As I mentioned before, there's 2 parts, multiple choice like the quizzes, open-ended up to 3 questions. Where you take it, the order is up to you, but you have to finish that complete. People take tests in different ways. I want you to feel as relaxed as possible. So I'm not going to say do multiple choice first or do open-ended first. You can spend more time on one versus the other. You manage your time appropriately. If you have special accommodations, you'll just let us know when you come in, and we will accommodate you. One of the beauties of being last but not least is you don't have to worry about other people coming into the class. We have it reserved for a longer period of time. Okay? And then we have the exam review guide. I think we saw it last time with the concepts, and we saw it last time with the open-ended questions that we had. Any questions? So you can see in the open-ended questions, I will ask you from those questions. It's not going to be, right, Kiko? It's not going to be trick or something. I'll come up with 3 extra questions. You know those questions well. You have to show you know those questions well. You have to not only show definitions, but show examples that you understand the material. But if you have this, it should be straightforward. I'm not here to trick you, but what I want you to do is be able to articulate that well. And a lot of times show it in terms of university examples, show it in terms of business examples. And it's things that we cover not only in class that we emphasize, but the beauty of our classes, we do a lot of hands-on projects, right? So when we do it, Lucy, those hands-on projects, why not reflect it? That you here, as I said before, what I like is that we do hands-on projects that you can take it with you. As I told you before, after you leave this class, nobody's going to be asking you about what did you, what was your grade on the exam, but rather, what can you show me you do? Right, Mauricio? That's what you want to find out, right? You don't want to see
right.
there. You don't even, whether they got an 89 or a 94, what you want to do is, what can you do for me?
Yep.
And what we do, Mauricio, in this class, I think I've told you before, is from the we've done a lot of things on hands-on. From we started with Zoom, that they are basically, they know the inside and outside of Zoom. They know how to record to the cloud. They know how to stream live to YouTube. They know how to do remote control. They're in charge of Zoom. They can do all the screen recorders. They even are using Notebook LM, and then they can use it for their exams. We're going to do next semester, just so you know, we're going to do voice agents. So the difference between having your own phone number, Mauricio, where I call you, I can text you, but what they're going to do is they're all going to have phone numbers where they'll be programmed in an LLM.
Okay, look at that.
And so what they'll be able to do, and what I like to do, is try it out with a vanity phone number. So for instance, I don't know if I talked about it with you before, Mauricio. Have you ever called 1-800-CHAT-GPT?
Yes, there's another one out there too. So
basically it's ChatGPT on a phone, and the beauty here is you don't even need, you can have a POTS line, you can have that old rotary dial that your great grandmother has, right? Anywhere, and she can call, and she can still talk to ChatGPT, they have numbers. So for instance, we have numbers that we try to look for that is not 800, but rather local numbers that doesn't, because in an 800 number, you have to pay for every call.
Yeah.
On the end. We're looking for local numbers. So if it starts with 786, we can convert that to run. So we look for vanity numbers that spell something like, one of the ones I have is like USA Manuel. So monitoring wellness. It could even be monitoring your security. You can call it. It has an LLM. Plus we have them program it that says, welcome to USA Manuel. We are AI consultants. And then the person can ask, well, who's the founder? And they could say, for instance, Mauricio is the founder, and talk about him, and they can talk about it, and they program it. And then we have a academic partnership with Wix, since I've worked with them, and they give us their business plan. So the students also get a free domain name. So instead of advertising this, that it's professional, and hopefully it will match their voice agent. And then what we want to do is with the voice agent, you remember a lot of times what the problem with all the LLMs is, they try to be friendly and they try to hallucinate and they try to please you. And even if they don't know the answer, they give it to it. So what we want to train it is when it doesn't know the answer, they say, oh, wait a minute, let me get, for instance, someone in our company to get online. So Dr. Rush gets online. And when Dr. Rush, and then I basically say the answer to that is this, is this. Then we want to have that correct answer be added to the model. So this is what this illustrious class has done and will be doing. And one of the things we've been affected, not only for, which I always de-emphasize, is it really wants to do well on the test, is really that whole area of security. Mm-hmm. And what these students, why I love to have you come in, is one enterprise they really know well is the university. Mm-hmm. And you basically have done such a tremendous job, not only being our chief security officer, but taking your time. Can you imagine his whole day, and he's coming in at 7 o'clock yapping with us? I really give you kudos for it. And if you need anything from me, you always have it. Is kind of share with us. I don't even want to have slides. It's almost make it like an open chat session of what they need to do. Almost, I love it when you tell them the tips and tricks. My students are great, but a lot of times it's almost loose. They don't really get that idea of security. Even some of my students, I'm always surprised. I said, well, you lock your door, don't you? No, you know what I mean? It's that openness, that even that physical security. So if you can share with us, introduce yourself. We are just so privileged to have you. Lily is my lead TA. She's been connecting with you. And how I do my TAs is they've been my students, and then they go TAs in training, and then they go to TAs. And Lily has been with me now. She's been promoted to the lead TA. So she's been communicating with you. She's an accounting and finance major and learned so much in terms of technology that being in the finance and accounting, she really has to know that field have to do security as well. So I just wanted to give everybody, you to understand us, where we're going, and then what they need to do with security. So one is, if you can introduce yourself, let us let us know. Even I think they're unaware what you guys do. You do such a good job behind the scenes, but it's not clear to them.
Good. So good evening. Thank you, Dr. Rush. I really appreciate always. It's a pleasure being here and with your students. So my name is Mauricio Angie. I'm the Chief Enterprise these days, Enterprise Chief Information Security Officer for the University of Miami. So me and my team, I lead the team of about 38 people, and we're in charge of the security everything from the wireless to the computers you use on a daily basis across the enterprise. So it's this the academy, as we call it, the health system, athletics department, and anything that's research and clinical trials. So these days, as you professor just gave you an idea, this field of cybersecurity. I studied there at NASA, and it was very 20 years ago, return to flight, and security was very different to what we see today. The things I was talking to back then about phishing, people didn't understand what phishing was. And now phishing has evolved to phishing. We call it as phishing because it's SMS, vishing because it's voice, whaling because it's trying to get our senior leaders into falling for tricks to anything you can think of, right? So
When you talk, let me just interrupt you a second.
yes,
When you talk about vishing, can you talk about that? Because that's new,
it's
even
new.
in our textbook, we've heard about phishing. And how do they get into that void?
So this is amazing. You're asking me the question. So there is a very well-known group of young people that jumped into this field. And about the first time that we started hearing about this group, and I give you the name in a minute, is in 2021. Back then, these young guys were in their teens, 16, 17, 18. And I don't know how much you all remember or know about back in 2022, MGM in Las Vegas was ransom. They had a ransomware attack. They were a bad attack, and they had to stop operations. So
So they
what
shut down, they took out all of
shut down
MGM, their casinos or
these
their entire.
casinos, the hotels, everything that had an MGM. And so that's the first time we as an industry became aware of this group called a scattered spider. And I want to welcome you to please write it down, do some research when you're doing your homework, when you're doing your agents. Please be aware of this group. So this group is American, Native American, and English speaking people. Um, and what is interesting to know, what is that got to do with me? Well, it's the first time that real English speaking individuals got in the game of fishing or calling, what we call fishing, now voice call. And they partnered with the Russians, and you guys know the Russians are the best in the technology for this type
Hacking.
of fraud, right? So what we're seeing now is that you all have to be aware of this, your daily lives, but as you do this exercise that you're gonna do, be aware that these bad actors are calling us, texting us, they are sending us email. And when you answer the phone, it's not the old days when somebody with an accent from other countries were talking, you say, this is somebody else.
The
Now this bad
Nigerian kind of
yes. Yeah.
mm.
So, oh, it's got an accent. It was easy. Today is almost they very hard to detect. Why your phone numbers are becoming the target? That's one for voice. How is that happening? If you've seen the news, and you probably seen it, but you keep on past walking to the news these days because there's so many. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, all these social networks have been victims of attacks, in where our username, passwords, and personal information have been stolen. That is the first indication that these bad actors now have something that belongs to us. They know sometimes our date of birth, which is very important. When they call, they try to intimidate us and saying that, I'm calling from the University of Miami and you owe money. And you start getting very nervous and talking. What their bad actors are doing these days is recording our voices. Did you know that? Does anybody know that? That's such a, with deep fake now, when you create your agents, go and do some research in the technology of deepfakes. You only need about 2 seconds of somebody's voice to complete all the sentences, and it looks and it hears. When you hear the person, it is almost that personal. You have to. It's the same thing. So we went from phishing emails, which is still happening, by the way, every day we, you know, you want to take a guess how many number of attacks against the University of Miami we have in a month? A wild guess. Take a wild guess and tell me how many attacks has the University of Miami seen in a monthly basis?
You guys can raise your hand or
Anybody,
just try-
just give me a wild number.
of how many in all your campuses?
And all the enterprise, everything that everything that we monitor. An idea. Yes, Kiko.
Like 50 a month.
How many?
50 a month.
Okay. You want to
I'd
go a
say
little bit higher?
1,000. I'd
How
say
about
1,000.
how about millions?
Millions.
How about
Wow.
if I tell you that last month we blocked 1.2 billion attacks against the University of Miami? Billion. So bad actors are very active. And so bad actors are very active in our lives as well. So as a student, they know your digital footprint. As a workers, they know your digital footprint. So we gotta be aware of these issues as you go into your professional life. So I gave you that background: phishing, smishing, SMS, all these things are stemming from our social media lives and everything we do out there. So you know, some people don't care about it, but that's how people ask me all the time, how is that possible? And I tell them, social media. Social media has everything they want to know: what we eat, where we eat, when we go out, what we're wearing, who we're seeing, what are your friends. So that's a network of networks and AI that is collecting that data and now inferring these new models of AI. They're inferring who your closest friends are, who your family members are. So it's becoming very, very hard. So before, when I started in this many months ago, I used to fight, you know, very small groups, and we were very successful doing that. Today, we fight AI. So it's very interesting, and I'm happy. I'm not at the level Dr. Rush here. I teach at another university, and I haven't been able to teach cybersecurity AI because in itself is a subject that will require weeks. But I am glad that you're being exposed to creating agents, to creating in LLM. I remember creating my first podcast using what is it, notebook or
Yeah,
with
notebook.
Google. Okay,
Yeah, notebook.
so
Right.
good. So that's in a nutshell what I do and my team does day in and day out. And I am fighting the bad guys and I'm protecting the good people and we are protecting the students. We're making sure you can get into your classes, into your rooms, that you can pay for food. So that's every day, 24/7, 365.
Well, can you tell us about my students sometimes complain and they don't understand the multi factor authentication
Yes.
and why they need it. And maybe you can tell them about their phone, how to keep safe. You know,
Yes.
when I think about their safe computing, can you give them the students? Because there's nobody that doesn't carry around their phone or sleep with their phone, or, you know, it's like a 24/7 extension of their hand. And I think people are loose with that. And tell us why you're even bothering. Why do they even need this? You know, every time they have to get their code.
I will. And yes, my team is that team that when you forgot your password, you can log in, you have to turn on your cameras and show your ID. That's my team. The reason being, and thank you. That's I'm gonna do something real life and you see how we're dealing with. So sometimes you call the service desk to get your password reset, but it's not you, it's a bad actor. And they don't have the camera. Or if they have deep fake, the only way that we can identify that it's not you is by asking the person on the other side to do this. You're gonna see me doing this. I have a background. So you see that?
Yeah.
If it's a bad actor, so we ask you turn off your background, let me no background and do this so we know it's not a deep fake. There's a reasons why. So I'm gonna tell you about this because it's fascinating. This is a token. We call it tokens. This technology is from 1990s. This token, you've probably seen it. Your parents may have this for the banks. Okay. So I gave you this one. So this one was a good way of keeping us safe. This is the only thing that is keeping the bad actors out. And this is the only thing between the bad actors and your computers and your data and our data. So this used to be good. This used to be enough until we started seeing the new phishing attacks or calls that ask or text messages. You experience this. Somebody texts and say, "Hey, this is the University of Miami service desk. Could you please give me the numbers that are displayed in this?" And so now the number of fraud committed by this. Now I can trick Dr. Rush with this and tell her, "Hey, could you give me those 3 numbers or 6 numbers that they flip every 30 seconds?" So it's a window of opportunity. So we call this technology now non-phishing resistant, because you have something that the bad actor can ask you and you can fall for it. Then Microsoft, and actually it was Apple that came out with your face or your finger recognition. You remember that? You all use it. That is called a passkey. And it's proving to be today the most reliable and secure way to authenticate to anything. Banks, anything that you have on your phone, you rely on it because it's got one thing. So and when talk about identity, we divide that in three pillars. Something you are, something you have, a token. Something you are, your biometrics, and something you know, a password. So the most phishing resistant, this is not phishing resistant anymore, because we know even though it's something I have, it could be somebody can trick you into providing that. The second one is your face. It's biometric. It's something you are. And it's also something you have. In order to authenticate, you have to have your phone and you have to put your face in front of it. So that's turned out to be anti-phishing resistant technology. And last but not least, we have this little guy here. It's called a FIDO key, FIDO, or YubiKey. Some people call it YubiKey. And this thing is phishing resistant because it's something I have. And when I plug it to my phone or my computer and I touch it, it will log me into my systems. So the reason why we are so passionate about it at the University of Miami is that these devices, this authenticator, is the only thing that is protecting all of us against a major cyber attack. So the bad actor can know your login ID and can know your password. That's the old days. They're gone. Everybody uses now a second factor, a multi-factor authenticator. And by us implementing something like the phone and your authenticator, that keeps the bad actors out. Now, it only takes one bad actor it only takes one. So we are all day, we are firefighting against these bad actors, but it only takes one. It takes, it takes about 15 seconds from the moment that you gave the bad actor your code or you fall for a phishing email, and then they're logging into anything that you have access to. And it's all, I am pretty sure you know what Python is. It's all a Python script. It says if, put the name here, username, password, and the code, and run all this. They're trying to log into Canvas. They're trying to link to your bank. They're trying to log into everything you have access to. So that's why I know we all hate it. Believe in everybody. No, I'm the least popular person at the University of Miami because my job is to keep us safe. But that nobody understands why we do what we do. Another one we did was separate the students to Gmail and the corporate email in Office 365. It was to keep the bad actors out and keep you safe, because we were being targeted, and we're saying it's not fair that if someday we get into an incident, we have to shut down email, the students will also be out. So we did that separation. Is working out really well. Real life.
Right. And what can they do? Give me like
Yeah.
tips and
Yes.
tricks. They go around with their phone. What
Tips
can
and
they do?
tricks. I am one of those people. Actually, tonight I'm preparing for my 2-week vacation in Japan. And so one of the things that we probably not aware, and again, it's happening too fast and to too many people that you always say it's not gonna happen to me. Okay. The new wave of attacks in some parts of in South America and Europe is that somebody comes behind you and taps your wallet or taps your phone. If you have that the feature turned on your iPhone, that when you tap to give somebody your number or your contact, I'm pretty sure you know what that is. It's a bad idea today because people are coming in the back and on the side, and they're trying to tap your credit cards, your debit cards, because we know all those credit cards have a near what is it, NSF, near oh my god, I went blank. The little Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, the credit cards, the phone. Okay, so the other one is this. When you go to other countries, you gotta be aware of the laws and regulations of the country. And I'm gonna tell you why it is the way it is. If you travel to China, did you know that all the communications in China are monitored? Your phone, as you get to China, gets a little downloaded without even knowing. It's already infected and they're monitoring and they have the ability to do that. If you go into a cruise or you go into public Wi-Fi, you gotta be extremely careful in the networks you're connecting, because your phone now is the target. Your phone, if our phone, I leave my house without my wallet and I keep on going as long as I have my phone because everything is here, but the driver license. But if I leave my phone at home, I turn back and I pick up my phone. So tips. Turn off your phone at least once a month. Turn it off and turn it back on. What that is preventing is some applications that may be running in the background, and you probably see sometimes your phone acting up or being slow when you close the applications, when you're closing the apps on your phone. Be aware that that may be signs that something is off with your phone. I highly recommend get an application to store your passwords. And I personally use, and I'm not advocating for this, but I personally use an application called Keeper. It's encrypted, and don't use the native phone password application because that is now a target. And if if you use Google and you're setting all your passwords on that Google, if the computer gets compromised, anybody can know your passwords. So these are little details that we are not aware of, and this happening every single day. And every day that you get those text messages about something random, and you guys are good at this because even my kids tell me that anybody can tell that that's bad, right? Well, not everybody's as smart as we are or as young as we are, and our family members sometimes need help. Don't click on the link. Don't respond to that person. What they're trying to do is get to you to get some information. So sometimes there's another applications out there that just by you answering stop or yes or no, I don't know who you are, they're now opening a channel with something called command and control, and they're now installing spyware on your phones. It's real. This is real. So you know how you say sometimes, man, I just talked about a pair of shoes. And when you go to your social media, everything you see now is shoes. It happens all the time because your settings on your phone, privacy settings, are not correctly set. I have about 250 apps in my phone. And from time to time, when I have nothing to take tomorrow on my flight, I'm planning to look at the privacy settings because I know that somebody's listening or my camera may be shared. So I'm very particular with phones, and this is what Dr. Rush is asking me to talk about this because this is one of my biggest threats to my family and the university, by the way. So if you have any questions or if you ever want to reach out to me, I'm easily, Lily knows my email address. She knows how to get in touch with me. I'm on campus on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Other days I'm in the medical campus, but if you want to chat, happy to chat. I'm available. Does anybody has any questions? Anybody, any questions?
Ludovica. Ludovica,
Yeah.
you have a
Yes,
question?
Ludovica, you have a
yes.
question?
I'm sorry, my camera is off just
So
because
it's
I'm
okay.
not feeling very well. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And well, you've shown how like attacks have become like super sophisticated recently, especially with like voice cloning and like
Yeah.
impersonation and all of that. So I was wondering, how do you even redefine what trust is in the digital space? Like how can you trust and like yeah.
Very good. That's it's funny. You're asking me questions that real life that we talk about the university at that level. So there are now companies really focusing on in this thing called trust. And if you care to take a note or put hands on keyword, you can look for any of your favorite companies. You can look for I don't know. You can do Instagram trust, and you're gonna get to a page where it tells you everything about Instagram. How do they do the assessments? Who monitors them? How often the assessments are performed? Okay, so that's in that world. In our world, Ludovica, it is becoming that close of a trust network, and you hit it where it really matters. One of the things that we keep on doing, no matter what, is this thing, our phone downloading apps. My friend said it. I saw it in Instagram. This app is really good. Sometimes those apps don't have the security or trust or ethics, that ethical background that will protect you. So one of the things I always be very careful of is it's dangerous sometimes because I read too much. Is who is the developer of that app and what is that app trying to do? And I tell you what, you're gonna have an aha moment about trust, because all these apps are doing now what they call these affiliate networks. So you have an app and I gotta make money. I sell the information I gathered from you to Instagram or Amazon or everybody else without you knowing. And I said to myself, that's an antitrust. But they tell us, sometimes they even said your data will be shared. And what do we do? Continue. I just want to go to the app.
We never
So
read it.
it starts with us, Ludovica. It starts with creating a little bit of awareness of, I'm going to show you another aha moment. I have two phones. This is my work phone to do work. And I have probably 5 apps here, Teams and other ones. And this is my personal phone. You see, I don't mix one because of trust. I'm even not trusting my personal life with or vice versa. I don't trust that I could do something stupid on my personal phone and I could potentially put the university at risk. It's me. Nobody ever asked me to do that, but it's a practice that I'm taking because I am a person that needs to be aware of this and what's happening. So, Ludovica, there's a lot of information about trust, and if you send me a legal note, I will send you what the industry is doing. There's a paper out there that I co-author about ethics, privacy, and compliance, and this is trust, and that's what the industry as a whole. Everybody's talking about trust. Before it was privacy. Now is trust. So that's a very good question.
Thank you so much for answering. I had this question because yeah, well, I don't come from here. I come from another country. I'm from Italy, and even there, I've seen that like in personal life, my uncle he works in audit, and he has
Yeah,
like in audit, it's like very important. Like there's major issues when it comes to like phishing or hacks or like when it comes to having like separate phones for separate
yeah.
things. Because so I wouldn't fully understand it at the time. So thank you for
You're
answering.
welcome. And thank you. Look, and you see, we all come from different places in the world, backgrounds. And some countries are more advanced and some countries are not so advanced. But the cybercrime doesn't care. They don't care. They're just trying to fish for information. And that was a very good question. And now you got me thinking, Lily, I'm gonna send a couple of links so you can share with your peers and students and for their homework that you're gonna do. Keep in mind what I'm about to show you. Okay, I have another one about deep fake. I hope that you all gonna like that. because there are some people that are not in this country that were able to get jobs in this country, all doing interviews with deep fake, and they hire people in the United States where they have the address and have the companies send the laptops to that address, but they're not here. They're in North Korea. So now we're talking about espionage. We're talking about corporate. So happy to talk. I don't know. It's just I get passionate about what I do,
Yeah,
and
that's what
There's
we'd
this
love
like
to.
is
That's what we'd love to have you. So in this world, we hear about ransomware.
yes,
Is that going on? And we always hear it about mostly with hospitals. And I'm thinking about rather medical hospitals that
Yeah.
I always tell the students the problem is if I go down, what does it really matter? In terms, they have my PowerPoints. I can show my PowerPoints. We can find other ways to do it. But in the medical school, I have surgery. Let's say I have surgery tomorrow and they go down, I'm in trouble, and they don't even, and let's say even they could surge me. In that case, they don't even know which leg, right? Is it the left leg, the right leg? So how is that an issue for you guys? And I can't believe that you're just not on the academic side of the Coral Gables, but you have the whole kit and caboodle, as we say,
the whole
to
thing.
the whole
So
thing.
um, I get it. So patient care and patient safety. Imagine you or your loved ones land in a hospital in an emergency, and that hospital gets ransom. So all the systems get ransomware, and there's no way to treat patients. What that creates is chaos. One, we have to start sending patients outside the hospital to to other hospitals. Two, we can take care of patients. Three, all these systems, the bad actor is asking us to pay a ransom to give us the data. But even that is not guaranteed that the bad actors, that key will work. So there's many factors. But since we're a large organization, and Dr. Rush just said, hey, what about the health system? I'm going to give you a better one. I worry about you. Every time I hear something going on and I ask how big this is, I worry about the students not able to get to their rooms, or students, if they call 911, the system doesn't work, or if they have an emergency that, the doors cannot open. I always look at, is this at the academy and the students okay? And then I pivot to, okay, good. Now, doctors and nurses, are we okay? But it's a real problem. Last week, the University of Michigan, which is very similar to UHealth, is suffering from a cyber attack, and it's been a week, and they're still down. So yes,
And
you
which
said
part is down?
everything. They ransom, the bad actors ransom 2,000 servers, both at the
2,000 servers
2,000
at the
servers.
university. So they
So
didn't attack one, and they attacked
picture
their
this.
medical.
Yeah, the medical affected too. The hospital had to do their procedures in emergency. But picture this. You said, oh, I have my PowerPoint. It's not as easy, because the reason we're here in Zoom is because I have my University of Miami ID and it worked.
Right.
So if you have to, you have to have a meeting, you can't do the meeting. So you're now struggling. The students can't do the homework. The faculty, at first you say, it's not a big issue if we knew it was gonna be hours. But
Right.
these are days and sometimes weeks. So that is why we invested at the University of Miami so much capital, both in hiring the right talent and investing in security to keep us all protected. And yes, the fines are, if you suffer a cyber incident, this insurance. But what we care about is the patients getting the care they need. We have patients that come in for cancer treatment. Imagine if they can't get the treatment they need. So if you start looking at this, traveling and looking at this, it is very bad situation that we are now, because we're all interconnected. One thing, it only takes one. So we stop 1 billion attacks. It only takes one. And
One
if
to
they're
get through.
successful, that's the end game for us.
Wow. That's amazing. So what do you see now with the advent of AI, and my students we're exposing, I'm thinking for both sides. Now I don't even have to be, before even they had like those kiddie things where you didn't have to be sophisticated. I imagine now it's really easy in terms of AI that I can be on the dark side. I'd like you just a few minutes to address the AI on the dark side and the AI that now you're trying to use for, like the white hats, if we want to talk about
Sure.
it.
So my field of study, my doctorate is in human behavior. And let me explain to you in very simple words, AI. And my wife's a psychologist, so we have an interesting conversation about this. Imagine that you have a child, or when you were little, you were starting to walk, and you have parents that care for you and taught you what's right, what's wrong. You probably went to church, good morals, good manners. That this person is gonna be, growing up as a good citizen, a good person. Imagine if the opposite, kids that are abused, or they didn't have parents growing up, and they end up learning bad behavior, and as a result, life took its turns, and these people are now doing bad stuff. Same transition what I just said to AI. So we have AI models that are being trained with good intentions, ethical, all this trust, all the good intentions. But we have bad actors training their models to do bad things. So if you find a vulnerability on this network or on your phone, do the following: steal the data, lock the phone, ask for ransom. That's what the bad actors are doing with AI. So AI is now fingerprint us, and what we are being able to say is, in a with full confidence, is that AI already has figured out the tools, a way to do what we did, what we couldn't think of back in many, many years. I have 12 people in a security operations center looking at screens. That's thing of the past. The AI models are mimicking good behavior. So sometimes we don't even know that that is a bad AI model or a bot, because they're behaving the same as a good model. And we have to now be very careful into what is it that it's trying to do where, and go look, like, literally unpack and do reverse engineering. Bad models right now are very difficult to detect. And the only way we're detecting is because we have AI to detect the bad AI models. So now is what I always thought when I was growing up, is you need AI to combat the AI. So robots combat robots. That's
Okay.
what we're doing. We have created about 12 AI agents in the security team they're helping us identify these bad actors. So more to come. I'm telling you, this is just the beginning with those AI models and agentic AI and LLM models that are being trained to do what bad actors did in the past, programming.
Okay. And do you have your group, and your group then does 24/7, and do you have like outsourced to another company too that are
Yep.
helping you as well?
We have 4 companies, depending on what we're looking for. So one company is augmenting the team that is 24/7 around, follow the sun model. We have another company that is monitoring all our cloud-based computing systems. One of them is Scanlink, Workday, all these
Right.
cloud-based, Epic, cloud-based. We have another group of security operations that is monitoring and securing our email. So that's 3. And the fourth one is a group of hackers in the dark web monitoring all these posts about University of Miami, University of Miami Health System, records, patient records. So from time to time, I get a phone call from either our good guys or the FBI saying, "Hey, we found some records that you may need to look at from the University of Miami." Locally, it was another Miami University. It was at the University of Miami in Florida. And the second time was a hospital in Houston. Little did I know, we are U Health, and Houston is also U Health.
Oh,
Something
really?
about
Okay.
University of Houston Health. So
Oh,
U
because
Health.
it's you health too. Okay,
So
the
so
you never think about it, yeah.
four different groups,
Wow, just
24/7, doing monitoring in different areas to make sure that we're safe.
that's incredible. Well, I thank you. You took your
Thank
time.
you.
Anything else that anybody wants to
Anything.
do? Really, but you've been so generous with us, and
Anything.
maybe we can do later on, we can do like an exercise together,
Yes.
something like that.
That's-
Because I really think you could even, and I always think about it, Mauricio, is the way to give back. And if you need my students in any way to be like your focus group,
Mhm.
as typical university students and go, what about this, or trying out this, you're always welcome, or whatever we can
Thank
do
you.
in the future together.
Let's get together in the future to because it's really needed.
Yeah, it's
Focus
needed
groups.
almost a back and forth, because
Yeah.
I think they could help you, as almost, I always see them too. They think about social media and computing so much different than we do,
That we
that it
do.
almost can give you an idea of what to focus in upon, you know?
Welcome. I welcome because one of the things I've been thinking of is my succession planning, the new generation. What do we want? And what are they seeing today that we need to be preparing for
Yes,
the
I
next
mean,
five
they
or
see
10?
things
Yeah,
different. They're viewing different media than you are as
yeah,
well. So
yeah.
where are they most vulnerable? And where they say, and are you ever looking for interns or anything,
Yes,
Maurice?
we are. Yes, we do. If you visit our, careers, or if you go to the career center and you ask that you want internship in security, we can accommodate that.
That may be
It's a
of interest
possibility.
too, that some of our
Yes.
students. Well, I want to thank you. You've had a long night, and I really appreciate you doing, and let me just, a round of applause really for
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
all.
much, really.
Appreciate it.
And then we
Thank you
know
all.
where to, Lily has your email, and if you want to send anything to us, Lily can post it.
Lily.
And I think really it's the idea of those fakes, even when we say they're fakes, but how do you know this is really? I always tell my students, unless they're deathly ill, they have to show their face, because they also can be a fake right here,
Uh,
and then they can write Mauricio, whoever,
yeah.
Brad Pitt or whatever. And I think there's Brad Pitt in my class, I
In
mean,
my world, every morning you're gonna see this, and if you talk to my employees, they're gonna tell you, I turn on my camera for every meeting. I always turn it on. And I ask everybody in my team to turn it on. At the beginning, they like, oh, this is, why? It's I need to understand and know for sure that you are that person. I now so at this point of like, okay, yeah, that's correct. So I gotta we get into that point. So don't believe everything you see. Be careful with the calls. And a piece of advice with your families, if you're traveling abroad, get a code word when you're traveling, a word that only
that's a
you and your
good.
parents will know, because we're seeing a lot of defects of calling family members telling you,
Yeah, that's
telling
always
them
the
that,
thing, and they
yeah,
can take your voice,
yes,
grandma, this is your grandson,
yeah,
and basically talk grandson, and they can
yeah.
even have that. Let me ask you one more point here. When you travel, do you ever think about just taking just a brand new clean phone or a cheap phone? No, I'm being
Oh my
serious.
God, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed because they're gonna think this guy is paranoid. So I am getting ready to go to Japan tomorrow, as I said. And in my room, I already have a Motorola phone that is ready, and we're gonna put the SIM in that Motorola, and that's the phone that I'm gonna use when I'm traveling.
So
That's
I'm saying,
me.
I don't think
That's
you're paranoid
I'm
enough.
sorry, that's me. But
No, but I mean, I
people,
don't think you're paranoid. I think you're real. Most people aren't even aware of it, but that's what I would do.
I'm an iPhone
Start
guy, and when I take that Motorola, it's all that Google
right, right.
phone. It take me a while, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
no,
I'm
but I
doing.
mean, you
I'm
almost have to have a
preparing.
clean phone that if they grab something, there's nothing to grab.
uh, it is the paranoia because I hear stories about people losing their phones when they're traveling, and the credit cards are there, the reservations,
No,
the
I'm just saying
passwords,
everything that's there,
and
your
I'm like,
life.
oh no, yeah. So okay,
Yeah, okay. So have a
thank you
safe
very much.
trip. When
Thank
are you
you.
leaving?
I'm leaving at 2 a.m. in a few hours.
Look at that. Unbelievable. And you came to us? My goodness
Yeah.
gracious.
Hey, I love what I do.
Yeah,
You
but
can
I'm
tell I've
just
been-
saying that really,
Thank
we are
you.
just so really praising you for you coming, Maurice. And then we'll do something when you come back, and maybe we'll talk about other things that we can do together, Mauricio.
Perfect. Thank you, Lily. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lily. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Rush.
you.
Appreciate it. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
Bye.
you. Thank you. Amazing. So what do you think?
Wow. That's crazy that he has a flight at 2 a.m.
Not, and then he comes to us, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but he's really dedicated for that. But it's basically, every time I talk to him, it's like you want to get under the mattress and never go, I may never go anywhere with it, but it is amazing. Okay, so I think at least you got to see what's happening at the university and what they're doing. And a lot of times, Florida does not have any laws that they have to cite that they've been hacked. In California, anybody been to California, they have stricter laws. When any institution, like any university, is hacked, they have to put that in public. And sometimes even the University of Miami sometimes is hacked, and the only way they know about it, it was on the dark web, and they took the University of California basically publishes it. So all that data is there. Okay, Lily, I think everybody has an idea. What I want to do on Monday, let's do this. You guys go over not only your group assignment, but study for the exam. And we'll use Monday. I'll be with you. Any questions that you have, I'll answer. Lily's gonna
It'll be
set up.
like a review day, so we're gonna do a Kahoot, and which will be good because if you don't think that you have questions and then you do the Kahoot and you realize, oh, I might need to study a little bit more of that, Dr. Rush can help you out and answer some questions. So
Okay, so that's what I'm
and
saying. So
we get
sometimes,
and you get the top 3 get prizes, right, Dr. Rush?
yeah,
Not
I'm
just
gonna put
bragging rights.
right. So we were depending. Lily just won bragging rights, and I said, "Well, I'll bring some swag to the. You'll get prizes when you come to the exam." Okay, so I'll bring prizes. All right, guys.
All right, I'll start the check-in.
Yeah.
The code's 3202.
Okay, great. And let me stop recording for everything. Anyone want to stay with me as long as you have? Everybody knows what to do.